all I've done here, I've been through I don't know what the word is, a bad experience.
Trauma?
A trauma, yeah, I've been through a load of trauma. So I'm just finishing it off with a little sort of picture for people.
Go on then.
In my ward. It's called my ward. Me, a Chinese fella, and an old bloke who looked like Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. Don't know what was wrong with him, but breaking wind was the symptoms. No one visited him or called him. He seemed quite lost to me. As well as wind problems, he had a colostomy. When I left, I said, "See you" to the old man. Turned out the other fella wasn't Chinese. He was from Japan. I never found out what was up with him. You've got a little picture there, haven't you, of me sat in my ward. I'm sat there with that fella who I didn't talk to, the old fella who had wind problems. And that's what a poem is, isn't it?
But the detail about you thought he was Chinese and he turned out to be Japanese, how is that evocative? That's just a piece of misinformation.
It's just
I like it.
I imagine a lot of people make
I
that
like
same
it, because
mistake.
you know why? It's like, he even makes digressions within his poem.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, he could have gone back and erased that, but he didn't. He left that digression in, and I think that's great.
There was a man on the radio doing poetry, says Carl in his diary. I thought I'd have a go at doing a poem about today.
Not really. Steve, I'm a little bit queasy. He hasn't really written a poem.
He's written a small poem.
No, he hasn't really.
Yes. If moths had eyes...
Fuck me!
Let me read the poem, okay?
Oh, fuck.
You wouldn't interrupt T.S. Eliot.
Okay. Okay.
If moths had eyes, would they be happier? How do they know they're not dead? Cavemen hunting for food, but not before they style the hair on their head. What would last longer in dinosaur times? A blind man didn't stand a chance. Not with all them rocks about. I'd rather be a blind moth.
Right, it may be the greatest poem ever written.
Just dissecting it briefly, you attempt to rhyme in the first 4 lines, but abandon the rhyming system in the last 3. Is there a creative decision for that?
Can we have Carl read that?
By all
Sorry,
means, yeah.
just you read it as you would like to. So this is, imagine this, right? Okay, this is going out all over the world. This podcast. And now, Karl Pilkington, a new poet from Manchester, now living in London, England, would like to read a poem.
If moths had eyes, would they be happier? How do they know they're not dead? Cavemen hunting for food, but not before they style the hair on their head. What would last longer in dinosaur times? A blind man didn't stand a chance. Not with all them rocks about. I'd rather be a blind moth.
He said it as though the last bit was going to rhyme. He said it like it was going to rhyme. Oh, God.
No,
I
it's
think
amazing.
I think he feels as though the final line, I'd rather be a blind moth, is going to be one of those great, a summation that somehow the moth is a metaphor, the caveman.
No, but
there's
all
no
I'm
metaphor in that. He really does mean he'd rather be a blind moth.
Yeah, well, just because I've looked at the day's news.
Can we always do that, Carl? Can we always find a day, right, and always sum it up in your thoughts, a poem, just like that?
Jellyfish, when they first came out, they were nothing. Jellyfish had nothing, aren't they? They're just a blob. So
when they first came out, when they were first released.
New by Roncal.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, even though they were nothing, they've grown to have a bit of something, just to get by in a busy place. Which
I don't know what you're talking about. It's all guesswork and conjecture.
It's not guesswork. I've been
It's all
for a week. I've been
nonsense.
reading all this and watching stuff.
Carl, you haven't learned anything.
Well, that's not entirely true, because he's obviously learnt enough to have written a poem about some of these subjects.
Oh, I love his poems. Are you getting into poetry now, properly?
I really like it, yeah.
Is Carl going to read this for me, Steve?
If you want him to.
I think so.
I did one about my kidneys.
What was it called?
Didn't have a name, it doesn't need it.
Ode to a Nephron.
Right, I did 2 about jellyfish.
Excellent.
I don't like jellyfish. They're not a fish, they're just a blob. They don't have eyes, fins or scales like a cod. They float about blind, stinging people in the seas, and no one eats jellyfish with chips and mushy peas. Get rid of them. And then there's just a shorter one about a jellyfish. It would be spiteful to put jellyfish in a trifle.
Yeah, it certainly would.
So,
That's great. That's really good. Because it's jelly. He's done us there, Steve.
Yeah.
That's a really good poem. It would be spiteful to put jellyfish in a trifle.
yeah.
A little half rhyme.
Yeah.
Do you want the one about my kidneys?
Yeah.
For God's sake, me belly ache. The doctor said it's me kidney. He said he's got to stick a tube up me knob. I said, you got to be kidding me. For God's sake, knob ache.
Oh God! I'm sort of mildly disappointed, but they're quite good.
Yeah.
No poet's ever written about jellyfish and kidneys. It's great. Oh God, I think you might have the market sewn up there. It would be spiteful to put a jellyfish in a trifle. You've done another poem?
Yeah, you said, just do one. If you have a day where you've had a lot of emotions.
Well, I loved the poem, and so did the listeners, and I knew they would. So if you can do that every week, that'd be a joy for me.
You can't force a poem though.
No, I
So
know.
a diary's easy to do because you just write down what you're doing.
But
Yeah.
you've got to have some really meaty subject matter to be able to write a poem, Rick, as you'll discover.
I know.
Right, so, you've heard what problems I had that day.
Go on then.
Bubbled wallpaper. What a mess. Washer dry and knackered. What a mess. Siamese twins separated. One leg less.
I don't know what rhyming scheme that is again. Oh God! Oh God! Oh! Oh, fuck me.
Okay, man. Anything you can remember from school that you learned that you had to maybe memorise?
French.
Not necessarily French. You could
Anything you can remember. This can be anything you remember from school, apart from the orange stuff stops cancer.
Yeah.
It's not the cough that carries you off, it's the coughing that carry you off in.
Ricky Gervais, Steve Merchant, Carl Pilkington. Go on.
Right, this one. Remember Blockbusters?
Uh-huh.
Right, this one is good and we'll do this one. Rockbusters. And remember how Bob Holness used to give you a letter?
Yeah.
And it'd give you a question and the answer to that question is that letter?
Yes.
Right, well it works like that. So if I said to you, we'll test it out on you, Steve, right? Right, welcome to the show and that.
Hello.
Let's play, right? And I say, right, your first one is W.
Mm-hmm.
And the cryptic clue, because it's done like crosswords.
Okay. So not quite like Blockbusters.
Well, this young man prepared for his death. And it's a W, so the answer. And it's not always going to be like our sort of music, it can be any sort of music that's out there.
So the W is the name of
the answer.
I understand that, but is the answer always the band name, or is it? It's always the band name, is it, or the artist?
Yeah.
And so would the W be the surname, or would you have both the initials if it was someone's name? Would Elvis Presley be EP?
Don't get annoyed,
no.
Carl. These are questions that I knew would be asked. I know this. You tested it on me, so you've got to tell them.
Well,
This is the point.
The rules.
If it was Elvis, I'd probably do E.
No. Give him the answer. Give him the
Right,
answer.
did you hear the clue?
No, give me the clue again then. So the letter is
It
W.
is a cryptic clue, and
It's
the clue's
W.
fine.
Listen,
but,
and the
go on.
clue is, this young man prepared for his death.
This young man prepared for his death.
Yeah.
This young man prepared for his death.
And it's a W. And it's his first name.
That's what he needs
Well,
to
see,
know.
that's the, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't...
Well, shouldn't we have the initials? Wouldn't that make it easier? I mean,
Yeah,
wouldn't-
but they didn't do that on Blockbusters, it just had one
Yeah,
letter.
they did.
No, they did.
if it was, if...
The gold one they often had us for 3 or 4
Did they?
letters, yeah.
Well, it was normally just one word. It wouldn't have been a name or something.
Alright then.
W...
Y. W-Y.
Will Young.
Excellent.
I
Right,
didn't
so
understand it. What was
this
the
young
clue?
Will
man,
prepared for this young man. So he's sort of mixed, sort of cryptic.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, that's a good effort. That's better than usual.
No, it's
that is better than
It's
usual.
not bad, is it?
So do you want to play? Let's play Rockbusters.
Yeah, Rockbusters.
How many of these have you got? No, because
No,
let's just clarify a couple of rules here, Carl. Let's just make sure we thought everything through, because I'm pretty certain when they get these things on TV, they at least have a go at them in the office first before they put them straight on there. I'm sure that's how it works. I'm sure Bob Wallace just didn't turn up the first day, and he goes, "Don't worry, we'll wing it. It'll be fine. Bring the students in. Let's have a go." I'm sure they did a little bit of preparation. So let's just check. We've got every base covered.
Yeah.
Firstly, how many questions have they got?
I'll
to
tell
get
you
right?
what. Let's do this off air then.